Dr. Grace Hogstad.
Thank you, Matt. So how many of you pay attention to your dreams? Yay, a few. Yay. And how many write them down and try to figure out what they mean? You do, Kyle?
I used to, but I need to do it again.
Okay. You know, dreams serve a lot of purpose. They can heal us. They can inspire and guide us through life. And they can help us solve some problems. Welcome to our mini seminar on introduction. Because it's such a short time, I just call it an introduction. You know, the subject of dreams is vast and deep. And in the 15 to 20 minutes that we have, we're not going to be able to go so far. However, what I want to do is to be able to share you some dreams and give you just enough introduction so that you can appreciate the value of dreams. So, the study of dreams is under the science of depth psychology. Believe it or not, it is in the science of depth psychology, which is the study of the unconscious. Sigmund Freud was the first, well, one of the pioneers of depth psychology, was the first one who declared that dreams are the royal road to learning the unconscious. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, who came about 19 years after Freud, also came to the same realization that dreams are really vital to understanding the unconscious. So Freud and Jung worked together. And they shared each other's dreams, they worked with each other, they did very well professionally working together. But later on, Carl Jung split up from him because if you've heard, I'm sure, that Freud is obsessed with sex. And to him, sex is the sole purpose or sole reason for neurosis. Now Jung agrees with him only to a certain point, only to a certain degree. Yes, repressed sexuality could be a reason for neurosis, but Jung studied deep into the unconscious that he realized that majority of the unconscious has nothing to do with sexual repression. So this is where the two of them, and I will explain that a little further. So Jung says that, well, okay, going back to Freud. You know, let me just illustrate it a certain way. If the psyche is this circle that I drew right here, about 10% of that top would be conscious, the conscious psyche, like the rational, the part that I am aware that I am talking to you right now, and you are aware that we are here together. That's conscious, we are aware. Then the next part, so maybe 10 to 20%, within this circle, is the personal unconscious. The personal unconscious is our experience from childhood. It has become unconscious because we've forgotten about it. We did something when we were little and we forgot about it, and so it becomes part of the unconscious. So in personal unconscious, everything was experienced by us. In other words, everything got added into us. So this is the venue where Freud works, the personal unconscious. That's why his work is all about repressed sexuality, and of course, that has something to do with one's experience as a young person. But later on, Carl Jung came along, and he took the work wider and deeper. So the rest, so we said the rational is, the conscious is about 10%, and these are not scientific numbers, by the way. These are just my estimation. So the next, the personal unconscious, maybe about 20%, and the rest, which is about 70%, is the collective unconscious. This is what Jung contributed to society. He's saying that we are not born tabula rasa, blank slate, as was believed before. You probably heard that before, tabula rasa. No, we are not. Because he's saying that the difference between Freud and Jung is that Freud, remember, it's all your own experience that had become unconscious. But with Jung, he's saying that we are born with our complete potentiality. A baby is born with already its potentiality in it. The same way a seed of a tree bears the full blueprint of a tree. And so we, as nature, as humans, are the same way. So Jung says that he calls this potentiality the archetype of the self. And this archetype guides us, guides and shapes us through adulthood and beyond. So if we do have this archetype of the self, if we want to find our destiny, what it is that we are born to do according to our blueprint, we need to listen to this inner guiding system. And one of the ways that we can listen to that inner guidance system, is through studying our dreams. Now part of it, of course, also is like, listening to your heart. Like, maybe you are born with a family of physicians and they expect you to be a physician. But you're really not a physician by heart, you don't really want to go that way. And what is it? What is your heart calling you to do? And along with listening to your heart, along with listening to the prodding of your intuition, you study dreams. When I was applying for admission to my doctoral program, I wrote about 4 dreams that actually I just wanted to be cute. I knew that depth psychology studies dreams. So I thought, I know about these dreams, and I really did, And so I thought, and they told a story. The dream, it happened, early childhood, and then early adulthood, midlife, and then just before I went to school. And it tells a story, so I wrote about it. At that time, I really just had a superficial understanding of them, what was obvious, because I hadn't studied dreams yet at that time. But little did I know that those dreams are very much Jungian. And so as you will see, so it's like when I was learning on this dream that I was thinking like, whoa, it's very Jungian. So I'm going to tell you only 3. I promised 4, but time will not allow us. So I'm only going to tell you 3 of the dreams. I'm also going to tell you the approaches to dream work by the leading depth psychologists. They're all dead now. Hillman is the youngest, who just died in 2011. Jung died in 1961, and Freud 1939. They have their own different approaches to dream work. So I'm going to go over that and then use that to discuss the dreams. So with Freud's approach, he's saying that he is known for his association. So to associate means to find hidden connection between a dream, image, and a past experience. So you hear so much about, with Freud, it's like phallic. A tree is phallic. A cigar is phallic. A pen is phallic. Everything. So much, but the association, if you have a dream, you say, what in my past experience? Notice it is definitely personal unconscious, because he's saying, what is the connection between a dream and a past experience? Okay, and I'm going to talk about it. Then for Jung, it's amplification. Again, amplify to make big, So to amplify means to discover a dream image's connection to universal cultural themes, to expand the image to archetype. So already we did this too. You see the difference. So I'm gonna tell you about the first dream, and then the second dream, and then we're gonna use this to discuss the dream. So the first dream came to me when I was around 8 and 9 years old, and the first two dreams are really recurring, and I think it's the psyche's way perhaps to impress the dreams upon me so I remember them. It must have been, because it was a recurring dream. So when I was 8, my mother had died, and since my father couldn't take care of us, he left us with our aunt and uncle in another island where we were maltreated and abused, and we were over there. We were still poor as we were before that, but more than being poor, we were now second-rate citizens, So this was the dream. In the dream, I was asleep. I was sleeping on the floor, on the living room floor, where we normally slept. So I rise in the deep of the night, in the dark. And I walked down, I just groped my way downstairs. It's a 2-story house. I groped my way downstairs, and then I walked out of the gate. See, our house did not have a yard, just all cemented patio. So the dream was set in the neighbor, I guess because the neighbor has a yard. So anyway, so I walk out of the gate. And I noticed the full moon was really bright, was bright enough to light up where I was walking. And so I looked around, and oh my gosh, I was overwhelmed with joy and excitement, because glittering all over me, all around me, are glinting coins partially hidden in the dirt. I don't even need to dig them. I just need to move around the dirt a little bit, and they're mine. So I put them in my pocket, and sometimes when I move the dirt, more show up. It was just like a bunch of coins everywhere. So I was just ferociously stuffing them, in my pockets. It's like, how could this be? There's just so much, it was just miraculous and so exciting. And of course, I wake up, and I didn't even have pockets, let alone coins, So let's look at Freud's let's look at Freud's approach. So to associate, okay. If I associate, it really is easy to see that the association of that dream has something to do with poverty, with lack, So the psyche has its own balancing system. The same way our physical body has this balancing, like when we become too hot, the body has a way of adjusting somehow, as much as it can, the temperature to balance it. So with the psyche, it's the same way. It's compensating. It sees that the lack needs to be balanced, be compensated. So now with Jung, it's associating it to the big stuff. And by the way, Jung calls this, he classifies dream as big dreams and little dreams. I didn't know that, but all the dreams that I wrote about are big dreams. Big dreams meaning they're associated with the big things in life. Like when you think the earth, for example. The earth, Mother Earth. The moon, the big, beautiful, brightly shining moon. That's associated with the goddess, you know. And I better hurry up because I'm only in a second dream. Okay, one other thing about Carl Jung. He says that the purpose of life, the sole purpose of life, is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. In other words, he encourages us to seek that part of us beyond this physical body. We're not just a body with history that goes to work so we can eat, so we can do it again over tomorrow. He's saying that we need to know the insideness of us. You know, so he says that the life of an individual is equivalent to the journey of a sun in a day. The sun in a day would rise up in the morning, one direction, right? And then at midday, it switches direction. It just doesn't go the same way all the time. So if midday, it switches direction. It goes downward. Now, our life, we begin with going out there, getting educated, separating from mother, establishing ourselves in the society. What are we? Are we going to be doctors? Are we psychologists? You know, teachers, firemen? So that's. But then, when it comes to midlife, have you heard of midlife crisis? Yeah, at midlife, it changes. You need to begin to go back in. You need to go inward. Now, the next dream I'm going to share with you is exactly that, a midlife crisis for me. You know, so the dream, in this dream, I was lying in my bed, and I touched my skin and realized that my skin has become so hard and thick, like layers of leather. And it was heavy, and it was hard. And so I ran to the mirror to see what has become of my face. And, you know, at the jaw, it was separating a little bit. So I lifted it a little bit, looked in the mirror, and saw, and put it right back, because, you know, instead of, you know, when you get a cut and it heals, and you think you'd get a pinkish kind of skin, new skin. But instead of seeing this pinkish skin, I see dark, like dark charcoal, and it's all wrinkled from being pressed by the mask. So I was really terrified, but I realized that if I leave the mask on, it will fall anyway, because it was very heavy. And so gently, I peeled it off. And so it was. I lived with the dark skin. So what does that mean? Let's go back to, well, I'm not even going to go. You know, I'm just going to go speed this up because time is moving. The mask, it was midlife. At that time, my last child was just about ready to finish high school. And so I'm about ready to be done with my obligation with my children. And I was beginning to feel weepy, like questioning myself, like, what have I done with my life? I wanted to write, but what am I doing? I'm like selling out. I'm all about money, you know. And so I was beginning to feel this, like I not wanting to go in the same path anymore. So Jung calls this exactly the mask. This is the archetype that needs to come off around midlife. I mean, is that typical Jung or what? And I didn't even know Jung at the time, you know. And so the mask is my businesswoman face that I needed to shed, because I was longing deep inside to be realized, to begin to realize the dream that I had as a little person, and that is to want to be a writer and a teacher. So I'm just going to quickly summarize that in the first dream, it helped me heal from poverty, from hopelessness, because when you just have no other means. But I love that dream. I just love feeling the exhilaration of the dream about finding coins. You know, so and because I was focused on that abundance, so I was able to open up in my psyche the opportunity to be abundant. And then the next dream, oh, gosh, I didn't even get to tell you about the second dream. I went straight to the third dream, but I'm running out of time anyway. So, I guess I just want to tell you one thing about dream that you can take home with you, and that is active imagination. And active imagination, you can create art. If you have a dream and you want to know about it, get a dictionary. There are dream dictionaries, or even check online. What are the meanings of this? But do not let the outside source decide what your dream means. Have some possibilities, and then check with you. Get into a meditative state and check with yourself and see how does this feel? Does this feel like it is correct? And you can also create artwork. This is one of Jung's artwork. He's consistently talked with his images. And you need to, so if you don't know, if you're troubled with, you don't know what this dream means, talk to the dream. That's what you call active imagination. You could get yourself in a meditative state and say, okay, talk to the dream. What is the name of the dream? Was it a crocodile? And said, crocodile, what is it you're trying to say to me? And you know, and you have to engage them, because this is exactly what Jung did. He kept on engaging his dreams by talking to them, by creating artwork. So that's all the time we have. I hope that you realize that dreams are valuable, and though we only took a peek, I hope that you will study your dreams, because that is the path to destiny. Mr. Toastmaster.
Before we finish up the meeting, do you need to evaluate? No? Okay, you're done. All right, before we